Hey, we're Group 5, and this is our strategic action plan for truck loading, tracking load, excuse me. Overall goal that we've been tasked with, as you can see here, Reliant is facing tough competition with tracking lots of its loads. Achieving 90% will allow for a better competitive position and to allow them to compete better. Approximately 91% of motor carriers operate 20 trucks or more, utilize transportation management, or TMS, which often include load tracking capabilities. Brokerage and 3PL tracking compliance. In the brokerage and third-party logistics sector, tracking completion success rates generally hover around 30 to 40%. However, platforms like Trucking Tools Smart Capacity have achieved tracking compliance rates of approximately 70%, which is significantly higher than the industry average. Why our goal matters. Our overall goal of increasing load tracking is critical because of what customers expect. Right now, some drivers are still refusing to track, which puts our relationship and reputation at risk. As other companies with strong tech capabilities enter this space, they're setting new standards. Our deep industry knowledge is still a major strength, but if we don't align with new tech expectations, we really run the risk of losing the competitive advantage. So you can see now the different stakeholders, with the direct stakeholders being the truck drivers. Obviously, with us not being a direct company hiring truck drivers, they are a major stake in within the companies, the shipping companies that we work with, as well as the different distributors that we have connections to, will benefit greatly from this, whether it work with different relationships. Reliant Transportation as ourselves, the company as a whole, it'll definitely increase funding if we're able to accurately get tracking better, as it is definitely helpful to our customers and our transportation staff. Definitely, if we're able to make this work, job security, things like that will be great. And different investors that work within our companies will definitely be very big on that. You can see our indirect stakeholders here, the suppliers and vendors, and the people, as you can see in the bottom, raw material suppliers, the people that make the products that we end up shipping. As we are kind of a middleman company, they'll have great interest in this, whether they do business with us based off if we're able to increase efforts. If we do hit our 90% goal, people still want to do business with us, or if this increased business is due to increasing our overall reputation, people will have great interest in that. Competitors, as I said, we could definitely be taking away business from them, which would definitely improve our overall shareholder. You can move on from here.
Yeah, and to kind of dive into our strategic actions. So first we have is defining tiers and criteria. So to kind of improve that driver performance and service quality, we're proposing implementing a tier system, basic, intermediate, and top performer. And as you can see, there's different criteria to hit based on different key metrics such as completion rate, tracking compliance, and safety. We think this initiative can be led by like the operations HR team. It could take approximately 2 to 3 months to roll out, and this requires some performance management tools and initial setup costs. And by using this, we're going to set up clear performance tiers, and Reliant can drive operational efficiency, improve on-time delivery rates, and hold drivers accountable, which is ultimately going to reduce the risk and enhance the customer satisfaction. And then to kind of go into our strategic action number 2, this is going to be effective tracking. So to enhance visibility and performance monitoring, we recommend developing or integrating a mobile app such dashboard. We know currently using the one app, but we want to integrate this and kind of build our own app, which really allow for driver metrics and really help improve the load acceptance, timeliness, and safety score. So this is also be led by, we think, the IT or operations. And we think it's also take around 2 to 4 months to kind of get going. It's going to require some app developers and telematic systems. While there are development and maintenance costs, it's going to be initial setup costs. The result will be greater tracking compliance, better performance data, and improved transparency. And this tool will also support early issue detection, reducing the risk of service disruptions in the trucks. And kind of jump into strategic action number 3, the bonus and incentives. So kind of going right along that tier system to boost that driver motivation and retention, we propose a tiered reward system that offers performance-based bonuses. So small incentives for tier 1 with an increasing rewards for tier 2 and tier 3. So for example, this is not going to be something like, oh, each time they're in this tier to get a bonus, but maybe it's 25 loads, 50 loads, whatever loads you want to make it. And this also be managed by the HR and finance team. It's taken around, we think, 2 to 3 months to build. And it also requires setting a bonus budget and a clear communication plan with all of your truck drivers. And this strategy is going to encourage high performance and engagement. And with successful measurement, it will improve retention and stronger performance metrics, and also let you know who's your best drivers and you reward them with those bonus and incentives. And lastly, our strategic action number four is that data and analytics. So to support the decision making, we recommend building a data and analytics framework to track and report on driver KPIs. I know you're talking about how you're integrating it, you're looking at the app, you try to put it into your system, but if you're able to do that automatically through that app or whatever you may be making, it's really allow you to be super successful. And we also think this can be read by the IT and operations team and take this can take a little bit longer, probably 4 to 5 months, and we require some analytic tools and setup costs and maybe some staff to help run it. But this system will provide, really accurate performance data and will offer faster response time to issues and really enabling data-driven decisions that improve fleet management and reduce the risk by identifying problems early in the year. And also you can see there's periodic reviews and reports. You're able to see all these reports across all of your drivers. And lastly, to kind of dive into is the incentives to the drivers. This strategy is going to reward drivers with better loads and safer routes based on that tracking performance. And these top tier drivers are going to get, the higher paying premium routes. And while the lower tier drivers are going to face that delayed payment and less favorable assignments. So routes will be removed from drivers who don't track loads, and it's encouraging that accountability. And also by incentivizing the drivers with better routes through tier progression, drivers have a clear plan to improve and move on. They know how to get that more money in those better loads have the time to track the load before being placed into a tier, and it's ensuring fairness. And the system's really going to benefit both those drivers and Reliant Transportation, leading to improve efficiency, safety, and performance.
Okay, for the environmental scan, we decided to use PESTEL framework to understand how it fits within the border of a landscape. So, from a political standpoint, tracking supports safety regulations, compliance, and helps us prepare for potential mandates around future transportation technology. Economical standpoint, it reduces the cost that comes with delays, breakdowns, and or last-minute reroutes. It also boosts overall efficiency, protects assets, especially in severe weather. From a social standpoint, it improves drivers' safety and communication. It also builds trust with clients through real-time updates, especially during emergencies or high-pressure deliveries. From a technological standpoint, it helps the system leverage GPS and telematics for real-time loading tracks. It also helps detect truck issues early, preventing bigger and costlier problems down the line. Environmental standpoint, it impacts the environmental impact is low. The system indirectly helps by reducing emission through better routes planning and by preventing breakdowns and cause water and waste and delays. And then finally, legal standpoint, it aligns with the growing industry expecting expectations for mandatory tracking and reports, strengthening both compliance and accountability. Okay, and then we also use the Porter 5 forces. So the first one is the threat of entry. So that kind of just the barrier to entry, since we already have a tracking system, we already have a competitive edge. Since we don't need to find something like that will help track our loads. A customer login, if our system is too complex, the trackers might resist adopting this new truck and tracking device, or and which kind of leads to the alternative would be brokers, shippers, or competitors. And mitigation strategy, ensuring our tracking system is easy to use and offers direct benefits to truckers. And then second one is the bargaining power of suppliers. The suppliers are the third-party truckers. From the leverage point, while the truckers can resist compliance, the shippers and brokers hold more control. If they demand tracking, drivers must follow. And then mitigation strategy, partners and shippers can enforce compliance through contract. And then continuing on, the third one is the bargaining power of buyers. Um, our clients like to list the clients like to be able to track our loads. They demand reliable tracking. If we don't deliver, they'll turn to competitors. That's why we need to enforce compliance through contracts, giving and give shippers analytics that offers and that others can't match. And then threat of substitution. As for substitution, drivers might fall back on the older systems or manual updates. To prevent that, we're focusing on ease of use, less manual data entry, fewer calls, and more access to good loads and compliant drivers. And then finally, the industry rivalry. Competition is in the space is intense. Other companies have tech, but our edge will come from delivering deeper insights, quicker support, and forming tight partnerships with shippers that require our system. Okay, and then the SWOT analysis is strength, starting off with strength. Reliance given greatest strength is the strong relationship with both distributors and drivers. It also has a solid reputation and deep industry knowledge, which gives it a competitive edge. They've been able to capitalize on experiences stay relevant as the industry evolves. Weakness. Reliant Transportation has started to track their loads, but are running into problems getting some of their truckers to comply with the new technology. For opportunity, are by tracking 90% of their loads, they can continue to lead in the industry and use their knowledge to outperform the companies moving into the industry and tracking capabilities already implemented. And then for threats, their distributions are starting to require them to track their loads. Companies that transport goods in another industry are starting to move into the industry, and they already have tracking technology implemented in their business operation. Okay, and then definition of the competitive strategy. So, a company's competitive strategy is a long-term plan that an organization uses to gain and sustain their competitive advantage in an industry. A competitive strategy aims to create defensibility, market position, and achieve high return on their investment into the industry. The strategy being used by the Reliant Transportation is a unique value proposition. The tier structure is a different piece to convey more drivers to consistently work for Reliant. Each driver is incentivized to keep working towards a higher payment and keep better loads. Also, Reliant can motivate drivers through value and superior service compared to other tracking companies.
Okay. The ethical considerations are tracking shipments only, not personal driver movement. Get driver consent and explain the purpose clearly. Protect data with strong security and use data fairly, no excessive monitoring or unfair penalties, and to review our policies regularly to stay ethical and transparent. Through lenses of innovation, desirability, the strategy to track loads will help Reliant customers know where the load that they are sending is and help the recipients of the load know when to expect the load to be delivered. Feasibility. This strategy is feasible through the use of technology, will also help the truck drivers be able to use technology for areas of their job other than simply tracking their loads. Viability. This plan is viable because it will give Reliant transportation and help them to track their loads more efficiently and spend that time directly helping their customers instead of taking the time out of their day to track their loads in the morning. This technology will also give them a competitive advantage over incoming competitors with the ability to track their loads. Our reflection. So we learned about the transportation and logistics industry from research, real-life scenarios, and our presenters. Our team began by identifying the problem, and then we created a list of possible solutions, researched, and then we divided the work based on our skill sets. We did not have a team leader. We communicated together in order to meet the deadline. For this project, we met in person to be able to communicate better, and we had a schedule of when our slides needed to be done and when we needed to start recording in order to turn in the project by the deadline. We did not reach out to the client for more information. We enjoyed working on the assignment because it was both challenging and eye-opening. We gained insight into how technology, human behavior, contracts, and software need to align to make a system work. It allowed us to see the complexity behind something simple like tracking a truck. Our group found strong communication was the best thing that worked for us. Another thing that would make this assignment better is to add a reflection from the driver's perspective as to why they do not want to use it and how we can help them become more compliant. Our key takeaways. This project is a real-world problem that can have a real impact on the company, and we need to be able to balance compliance and ethics. Project management matters. Having clear timeliness, role assignment, and regular check-ins, and clear communication is crucial. How we completed the assignment. How we learned. We did online research to uncover industry trends, class materials, and looked into case studies to understand transportation and logistics industry. Our protocol was to set goals and divide the 12 sections into 3 sections per person. We met online and did most of the work on our own. The assignment, we enjoyed using a real-world example and learning how to collaborate through new challenge. Strong communication and accountability allowed us to progress exponentially in this project. I think the ability to present in person to the client would be more beneficial.